They got rid of the pass interference replay, and finally, all is right in the universe.
You're right.
Well, what was probably one of the greatest errors in football history, which I like to call the pass interference replay, has finally been killed off, made part of the dinosaurs. It's extinct, and it couldn't have happened soon
It would
enough.
only happen in this day and age.
Yes.
That rule would only happen.
And the thing
in
is
this day and
that
age.
some of the coaches on the teams voted for this thing last
I
year as though it was
know,
going to be some sort of
but they-
game
but
changer.
you couldn't be the one who voted not for it when you watched
Yeah.
that NFC Championship game, which was the reason for it.
I know.
Right?
And I know.
The
2
rule,
years ago.
the rule change about catches was the only one they needed to make.
Yes.
Right?
They didn't need to
Because
go-
they made the rule change before the actual rule changed.
Yes.
Because now I'm biased and I don't care because the Steelers beat the Patriots that year until the referees decided that Jesse James didn't catch the ball.
I remember that.
BS. And then if you watched the Super Bowl with the Eagles and the Patriots,
Yes.
the thing that they called back as not a touchdown
Was a touchdown.
twice.
Twice.
And so when I watched that game, I was cheering the whole entire time because I hate the Patriots. You all right over there?
I think I inhaled the Bengals last season.
All right, I'm done talking to this guy. I'll just talk to you, right? But the point is there were two plays.
Yes.
The Ertz play. Now that one he was a runner, and they actually made the call that he was a runner, right? But the other one I can't remember who it was, but he was a running back. I think he was a running back, and he was like boop, 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 like bobbling the ball.
Yes.
Right. And they called it a touchdown anyways because they knew they had messed up earlier in the year. And by the way, in that year, right, had that call not actually happened in Pittsburgh, the Steelers would have been the number one team in the AFC.
Wow. He's still
I
bitter about that one.
was probably screaming at the television.
I remember watching those plays and thinking
Louder
to
than
myself,
anything.
what are they doing?
Well, okay.
And
again,
it also happened to
they
the Saints.
They reacted.
Happened to the Falcons a
Right,
couple
but
times.
they reacted to that play, that play in the NFC Championship game, right, where it was clearly pass interference.
It
It was
was.
clearly pass interference. And the guy got fined for a helmet-to-helmet hit. So even if you didn't call the pass interference, you should have called the helmet-to-helmet
helmet.
defenseless receiver.
But
right?
that's not
But they,
reviewable.
but they didn't do either of those things, right? But penalties aren't reviewable.
Which is crazy. Should that come into play?
Because here's the thing,
Man, that's an
right?
ooh,
I could
that's-
come up with. I remember. Look, every play, right? The old adage, right, is on every play you could find a holding,
Every play.
right?
Without
there
a
were,
doubt.
There were plays in seasons where I've watched. I was like, well, that was a false start, and then people stop, and then all of
Right.
a sudden it goes, or that guy was
Or
offside.
the play clock reaches 0 and suddenly
And
still
nothing-
let the play go?
Right. So there's a part of sports that requires that level of just annoyance.
It probably
Right?
will never go away.
But last year with the review, do you know what? Do you know when I gave the middle finger and the F word to the review?
Which one?
Take a wild guess which game it happened.
Was it a Pittsburgh Steelers game?
And they were playing the Patriots
Who seemed to get an...
and Tool Boy
Yes, we don't mention his name here anymore,
Right.
but he plays for the Bucks now.
he throws a Joe Flacco, just throw it really, really high,
Right?
right? And then the refs will call pass interference.
Usually.
So he throws it really, really high, really, really, really far down the field, and not even close to anybody. Nothing.
Wasn't catchable, was it?
It was probably catchable if you believe that because he threw the ball, it should be catchable. No penalty, nothing. And then they throw the challenge flag and they go and review it. And then they find out that there's magically a 55-yard penalty, which then turns into a score for the Patriots.
I remember that
Which
game.
then
Yep.
turns into a romp, which then turns into we find out that Ben actually got hurt. Right?
Elbow game.
And I always say this, right? At the end of the game, when they do the recap and you look at penalties and penalty yards and things like
Mhm.
that, right? And people will always say, "Oh, there were 5 penalties against this team and 6 penalties against." That's pretty even. No, it's when they are called. It's when it actually happens
Right.
and what it does to the game.
It's the flow,
So
the
a
cadence of the game.
5-yard defensive holding penalty is a 5-yard penalty.
But it's
an automatic first down.
which changes the whole.
So if you're on 4th down and you throw a 30-yard pass
Yep.
on a 4th and 20 and they call a 5-yard holding penalty, it's now first down. Right? And if it's
Changes
inside of a
everything.
2-minute warning and that gives you a field goal chance, whatever, those things matter.
And it's like a free
when it
timeout
happens. That
in the
rule
2-minute
that they
warning.
passed, right? That rule they passed, the pass interference review, was a reaction to the fact that they messed it up. And the Saints should have been in the Super Bowl, not the Rams. But they
Yes.
wanted the Rams in the Super Bowl because they were the darlings.
And they're the bigger market. I've always been a fan that they always want the largest markets in the championship
Well,
games. to
I
get
think
the
that's
most
part
viewers.
of it. But again, I don't think in the moment like that individual, because there's 3 referees that could throw that flag, right? There's 3 guys that are.
There are 3 guys.
And I don't think they're sitting to themselves saying, "I'm not going to throw this penalty." It's like when you watch hockey in the playoffs, the game is just harder. Now,
Yeah.
when you watch it in
You got to
super
let them play sometimes.
when you watch it in super slow motion, it's a no-brainer. And
Yeah.
frankly, if it was the regular season, they would have just erred on the side of, so what? There's a
Right.
50-yard penalty or 30-yard penalty, right?
But they're going hard. The
But
speed
they
is so
are-
fast.
But I think, right, in their drive to not influence the game, it actually influences
the game.
right? So that rule was an overreaction. So I'm glad they got rid of it because whatever, right?
And then-
It's a judgment call, and if they can make the judgment call in real time, then I'm good with it,
Okay.
right?
I prefer it that
that's
way.
me saying, right, that it usually goes against team that I root for.
Usually.
But
Or
again, if
anybody
you were-
playing the Patriots last year.
Yeah, well, but if you
Or
were,
anybody
if
playing
you were a
against the
Bengals
Saints.
fan, then you would be like, well, yeah, Pittsburgh gets all the calls. I get it, right? I'm a partisan. I understand that, right?
I
I'm
get
willing
there.
to. I'm willing to take that. I just don't
Just when
think
I
it's a
watch
rule.
the games, am I like, man, they're just trying to screw over the Bengals? Which,
Can you blame them?
no.
I mean, look at those helmets. They're orange.
Hey, they're trying to figure something out there. At least they don't have the catchphrase "Let's roar" this year.
Did they
as their
change? Were there
battle
any
cry.
other rules that changed from the competition committee?
The review of pass interference really is the
That's the big one?
this year. That's the one that they're getting rid of. I think most things are sticking this year. You can still challenge. You still can't challenge roughing the quarterback. I think
Yeah, they're not.
roughing.
They're not
yeah.
going to change that. They're not going to change that.
No, which
I mean, you can't look. You can
the whole point
say
of the quarterback is to be hunted down by the biggest guys
I
in the field to
understand
not
that.
throw the ball.
I understand that, right? But that's when you're talking. You're hearkening back to an NFL that you neither enjoyed watching, nor were old enough to actually watch, right? Right now, it's a multi-billion-dollar
They
industry,
want big scores. And
right?
They want big passes.
and I'm going to tell you this. Okay, so we live here in Denver.
hmm
Since Peyton Manning retired,
Yes.
the Broncos have been awful. Not because their defense was awful,
The great defense.
or that they didn't have good skilled players, because they did.
yeah.
They haven't been able to find a quarterback.
Who's the
So
leader
when you
of the
go
team.
through the league, this is why I said you could hate Ben Roethlisberger. Right? I said this on a previous podcast.
I probably
you could hate
do.
Ben
I don't wanna-
Roethlisberger.
maybe.
But if the Bengals picked him up, you would be happy because now you wouldn't be in the bottom half from a talent-wise of the quarterback pool, which means you can build around him.
He's pretty hard to take down,
Joe
I gotta
Flacco's
admit.
terrible. And they won a Super
Which
Bowl.
was kind of a
because he just
crazy-
threw the ball really high, and then,
The
like
PI
Chris
in him.
Harris lost his...
right.
It wasn't Chris
Footing.
Harris.
Whoever the
It
defender was.
Roby, maybe. But anyways, the point is quarterbacks make or break the teams. Right? They make or break the
essentially,
teams.
yes.
Their consistency makes or breaks the teams. So the NFL is saying, right, if I can keep this quarterback healthy,
hmm
right, even if you disagree with it, I can sell more ticket. The chances of you winning games
Goes
is
up.
higher, right? The chances of you being competitive is higher, right? Ticket sales go up, merchandise sales go up. It's a business decision.
And
Right.
it's
Can
the
you
league is a
imagine-
passing league now.
Can you imagine? You remember when Carson Palmer got wrecked
In this the AFC
in the AFC
the first round playoff game?
divisional round
Yeah.
or the championship?
Yeah, I did. I
against the
remember
Steelers,
that.
Remember?
It crushed me.
And the Bengals were terrible. they were terrible for the. Carson Palmer throwing the ball to
Chad Johnson.
Chad Johnson.
TJ Houshmandzadeh was on that team.
And
That was their
Houshmandzadeh?
best
They were
team
good.
that they had in a long time.
And I'll tell you what, because I remember, because they were sort of towards the goal line, right? And I think it was Brett Kiesel, just kind of like came in.
Went down on the leg on purpose. I saw it.
Yeah, on purpose.
They did.
And
It
he
was
just
targeting.
destroyed his knee. And then
Targeting.
I remember looking at my
Targeting.
brother and being like, well, Steelers win.
Yeah. There was no way anybody was going to come in and change things.
No.
Because the quarterback
so
was
then,
the key.
remember when it happened to Tom Brady? And he tore his ACL? And then
two or
this
three
is where
years
Matt
ago?
Castle became a name, right, for a
Yeah.
season. And then he got paid.
And
Because
then
he came
tanked.
in and they were actually, I think they finished like 11-5 or 12-4,
Yeah, they still had a winning
even
season,
without
like
him.
a playoff
Right, even
winning
without
season.
him. But imagine that team that went 12-4 or 11-5, whatever it was. Imagine them with him.
Tom Brady, they would have won another chance. They'd at least made the Super Bowl.
Maybe, right? So when you think about it, those rules are in there, right? Because if you can protect that guy, if you can protect Peyton Manning,
Quarterback.
if you can
Yep.
protect Drew Brees, right, and you can elongate their careers, if you could protect Carson Palmer in his prime and elongate Phillip Rivers, right, and elongate his career,
Absolutely.
then your team you will have more fandom, like you'll have more celebration. The league will make more money, the players will make more money, right? The fans will be more invested. If you just let defensive linemen and linebackers destroy quarterbacks, then you end
Turns
up
into a running league.
then you end up with, and no offense to him because I was never a professional football player, but you end up with Trevor Siemian. And the kid's probably a really good kid.
Probably. You just know how to protect
He's
the
not a
blind side.
kid. He was a
a
great
man.
he's a good young man,
Yeah.
right? But you end up with Case Keenum. It's a fine young man.
Yeah.
I'm not
Then you end up with a
debating
Joe
whether I'm
Flacco.
not debating whether or not to buy season tickets when Mason Rudolph is the quarterback, right? When Duck is the quarterback. I'm not debating it. Right? I'm not even thinking about flying out to Pittsburgh if I had to pay for it to watch
Right.
that. I didn't pay for it. That's why I went.
Because you want to watch Roethlisberger play. I've
But
seen him
if
play too.
Ben is playing and James Conner is healthy, right, and the defense is playing well, I want to go watch him play.
Because it's going to be a good game, generally.
At least they'll be competitive.
Right? Tomlin's never had a losing season.
He has not. He's had at least one 8-8, and he's had a couple of like evens.
Who could any team would ask for that kind of performance?
Yeah,
but
he's won a Super Bowl.
2. He has 2, doesn't he?
I don't think so. I think Bill Cowher got
Cowher had the
Cowher
first
got
one. Tomlin came in and
Cowher
won
got the
that
one with
second.
Bettis, and then
Yeah.
because
Roethlisberger has 2 under his belt. That
Yes.
son of a- Anyway, guys, the pass interference call
bye bye.
replay is gone, and we're happy. And then maybe it turns into a run league. That'll never
That ain't gonna
happen.
happen.
Ain't ever gonna happen. It's a throw first league, and it always will be.
Unless you got Derrick Henry, and you can run them.
Then you run all day. Then you just let the quarterback stand there and go, here you go. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, if you like the content that you're watching here, go ahead and like what you see, ring that bell, follow what we do, and become one of our subscribers, because that's how we stay in business of talking about football and the things that you like. So they should follow us, every one of them.
You should.
10,000 subscribers is what we want.
do
So
it.
get there now. We're close. But anyway, like what we do, head over to ourcommunitynow.com to check out a whole bunch of other podcasts and stuff that we do, because they're there, they exist, and they're a lot more fun too. But I am Josh, and this is
John Stallworth fan.
saying thanks for listening to My Wife Hates This, and we will see you next time wearing the same shirts.